Don't ever be embarrassed by your search history after you find out what 5,000 people Google every single month. It's your number of the day. Nicole's dad was in a wheelchair at her wedding. But then something happened that nobody thought was possible, and I think it's going to make you smile. If your life feels out of control, I got a way to level up your life. And this will get you nostalgic for the 80s, a TV commercial about TVs that maybe we should go back to this. It's your Daily Joy Scroll. That's coming up on The Good News Show with Andy, where I'm all about putting a smile on your face and hope in your heart.
The Good News Show with Andy.
The number of the day is...
Whatever you've Googled, it's not as ridiculous as this. Every month, more than 5,000 people search for this on Google. It is, how do I use Google? Let's never be afraid of silly questions like that, whether it's entering it into a search engine, those questions that you're just like, I've always wanted to know the answers to that, and I just have never been willing to ask, or with God. Google doesn't judge you for all that stuff. It's just a search engine. God doesn't judge you for that. And he's the creator of the universe. And he wants to talk to you. And he wants your questions. I hope you're encouraged today to ask questions. Hard ones, silly ones, big ones, small ones.
My mom always said it's always a no if you don't ask. And that has gotten more opportunity than not, because it's true. If you don't ask, then the answer is no. So you might as well ask and see what the result is.
And how often do you assume? Yeah, I'm not even going to try.
Right.
It's not even worth
we
it.
always assume that it's just not going to happen. But if you take it with a stance of positivity and go for it, you never know what the answer could be.
You may not really have a great faith background. You might not really believe in church or being a Christian, but you probably kind of look at Jesus and say, okay, this guy, he was wise and he was kind and he was loving. And one of the most interesting things he did in the Bible is there was someone who came up to him who was sick and needed healing. And he asked the person, can you imagine asking this to someone who's sick? Do you want to be well? And the person said yes, and he was healed. I think Jesus is asking you and me that today too, and every day. Do we want to be well? And you might think, well, that's obvious, duh. But here's the trick. It first means that we have to admit that we aren't well.
I hope this story makes you smile today.
10 months ago, a severe stroke nearly took Nicole's dad's life. She was afraid he wouldn't be able to make it to her wedding. But the other day, the music started on the father-daughter dance. Her dad was there, sitting in a wheelchair. For the first time since the stroke, he stood up without anyone helping him. Slowly, carefully, and then he wrapped his arms around his daughter and began to dance. It wasn't perfect, and it wasn't for long, but it was long enough to create a memory neither of them will ever forget.
You are awesome.
They show up every single day. They made the choice to love even when they didn't have to. And they help build a home where kids feel wanted and supported. So if you are a step parent,
You are awesome.
Jesus was eating with a group of people that the super religious people of the day didn't approve of. And so these religious people said, well, why is he eating with sinners? Jesus replies, it's not the healthy who need a doctor, but the sick. I have not come to call the righteous, but sinners. See, Jesus didn't come to call the ones who have it all figured out, the ones that look like their lives are perfect, the ones who do everything right and look down on those who don't. Jesus called for the ones who know they've fallen short again and again, the ones that are broken and weak and know they need a savior to save them. If your life feels out of control, here's a way to level up your life. Take control when you can. If there's things in my life that I'm waiting on someone else, I have to decide, can I just take the next step to move forward? And then the opposite can be true too, where if it's out of my control, what are the things I can concentrate on that are in my control? And it looks like you've got a text from God. I can do more than you can imagine, more than you even ask. My power is already at work in you. It was a meme online, but I thought this is a great life lesson. It said, delete one thing you think would make the world better. And I'm just thinking of my life. What's one thing I could delete and it would make my life better? And what's stopping me from doing that right now? Helping you find the joy on the internet so you don't have to doom scroll all day. And let's go back to a time before the internet. This is an ad from the 80s talking about a revolutionary new TV for your living room.
I wanted giant screen TV.
But I didn't want a giant screen taking over my living room.
Look what Zenith built.
By remote control, the screen rises from the fine furniture cabinet, and only Zenith has the screen that disappeared.
So I get my living room back.
Now that I think about it, going back to a time where the TV was hidden or maybe wasn't even in the living room, that doesn't sound too bad. There's no such thing as a silly question, especially when it comes to faith. Maybe you hear the word prayer and you go, Andy, I don't even know. Where do I start? What does that look like? Well, prayer is talking to God. And if you've never talked to him, here's a prayer that will help your faith begin to grow. Hey, God, please show me that you exist. If you're not sure if you can pray, it's simply talking to God, just like you'd talk to a friend on the phone.
I was an old pastor when I was 19, and he said, God's telephone number is Jeremiah 33:3. Call unto me, and I will answer you and show you great, marvelous things. Remember that the line never is busy. You don't have to have an operator help you. You can call it day or night, 24/7, and God will answer.
Although I can tell that's an older message because nobody under the age of 30 has any idea what a busy signal is or an operator. So if we changed it, it would be God will never send you to voicemail and you never have to Google to find him. He's always right there. The most frustrating thing in the world is being stuck in traffic, especially when it's unexpected. You're staring at taillights ahead, angrily pounding the steering wheel because you have places to be and things to do. And it never happens at the time that you have an extra few minutes. And you're not moving at all, but the lanes on both sides are inching forward while you remain stuck. And you're thinking, I have to get into another lane. And then all of a sudden you finally get into that lane and the lane that you left starts going. And the lane you're in grinds to a halt. I got to figure this out at some point. I haven't yet in my life, but it's impossible to escape a traffic jam by going faster. Getting upset at it, frustrated, angry, that doesn't clear the path. I'm not talking about cars. There's a beautiful promise in the Bible that God had for the people of Israel when they were going into the promised land. He told them that I'm going to clear the path before you. I'm going to get your enemies out of the way. Because if they all came at you at once, if I gave you all the land I'm going to give you, it would overwhelm you because of all the things that are there. But I'm going to take it out bit by bit. All these reminders, I hope you take to heart today, knowing that you might not see how God is working in the details, in the background, in the foreground, clearing the path for you. But as you look ahead, know this, that even though you might see brake lights in front of you and they might seem like they're going for miles and miles ahead, God is clearing a path forward for you. Will Joe never made it home from World War II after his bomber was shot down over Europe. His family treasured the medal that honored his sacrifice, but after his mother died, the Purple Heart disappeared. For decades, nobody knew where it went. Then, 30 years later, a woman named Tammy Hart was digging through a dump when she spotted an old metal case buried inside a box of clothes. Tammy made it her mission to find this family. She researched military records, tracked down relatives, brought the medal to veterans events, spending more than 20 years trying to solve this mystery. Then one day, there was a knock on her door. Standing outside were members of Wiljo's family, visiting places connected to their history. Yeah, after decades of looking, the family had literally found her. One soldier gave his life for his country. One stranger spent 2 decades honoring that sacrifice.